Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA stock. Let's go over what has happened to the stock, what we can expect moving into the final day of the year and into the first month of the year as well. And I'll give you my overall thoughts on the price movement and what to expect, at least from my perspective. So with that being said and done, if you enjoy my technical analysis, my videos, etc., please don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And again, if you do enjoy my thoughts, posts, etc., I do share my thoughts every single day with my members live, pretty much as the market is trading. So I'm constantly updating as the market is trading throughout the trading day in my YouTube membership section. So again, the link is down below for that in the description of the video, where I, again, constantly share my thoughts. For just $3 a month, you get access to all that, mainly on Tesla stocks, sometimes other stocks as well. Or for $5 a month, you get access to everything I just said, plus NVIDIA daily updates. Like for instance here, 2 hours ago, I mentioned how we broke out of the 1 hour bro flag, but we're getting a little bit overheated on the 1 hour time frame. Could see another move down to the 137s, but as long as that holds, I think we should be close to a daily breakout. And what do we get on the 1 hour time frame? Pretty much exactly that. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff, right? Pretty much right back down to that 137 area. So with that being said, let's jump into it. NVIDIA closing the day up, actually, in a pretty bloody day in the markets, which is a nice sign to see. Not a lot, but nonetheless, I think is a green and a win is a win. 0.35% on the day, closing at $137.50 per share, which again, compared to the market, pretty impressive outperformance, I would say. Pretty impressive outperformance nonetheless. So let's start off with the daily chart. Let's start with we'll start with the daily chart. So the daily chart looking, again, not bad, right? Not bad. Still some work to do. It's not perfect. Absolutely not perfect. But, it's trying. It's trying to really turn these things around. So the first and foremost thing that we have to obviously pay attention to is the fact that we, of course, have this inverted head and shoulders pattern that's still holding. That is still holding. And today's right shoulder has been pretty much almost to perfection mimicked the left shoulder's bottom touch point. Very nice. I'd like to see that. So far, so good. Cannot complain about that too much. And we're continuing to respect this trend line breakout that we did, a few days ago. And, we're just constantly retesting it and so far holding it. I would argue even pretty convincingly too. So not too bad. Not too bad. Now, again, there are still some signs of concern. It's not perfect just yet, which I'll go over very soon. But as long as we continue essentially holding this sort of, mid-ish 130s, like 134, 5, 6, that, 2-ish, we'll say, dollar price range, I like it. I like the stock and I like the way it's looking, and I lean bullish. I absolutely lean bullish as long as we continue holding that. Now, the not so good news, right? At least on the daily chart. Well, okay, before I get to that, the main thing that bulls want to look for is pretty much about the 140 to 142, like the very low 140s. The bulls want to not only break above that, they want to hold above that, right? And I say the low 140s because these two candles back here did actually close in 140, right? This one closed at 140.22, right? Not crazy hell, into the 140s, but the point I'm trying to make is the fact that, it's not just like, oh, it's above 140.00, it's over, it's time to rally. No, it's not that simple, right? You want to turn the low 140s, 140 to 142, into more convincing support, kind of like what we did with this breakout, this trendline breakout. And then, these 2 days, we've clearly turned it into a support so far, at least. So that's good. So we want to see something like that, but with the low 140s. Anyway, the bulls want to claim that. The bulls want to claim that because not only will that be just a very nice kind of a psychological level, important resistance level, and also turning the bands, back into both into green on the daily chart. Those would be phenomenal signs to see, and that's what, in my opinion, the bulls pretty much should be aiming for moving forward. So let's see how that plays out. But those are the main steps for the bulls. And if we can eventually start to do that, I think the bulls can easily make their way back up to, at the very least, retest all-time highs sometime in January. But the first step is, again, like I said, reclaim that low 140s, turn into support, hold it, let the bands turn green, and I think off to the races we go. But I like the way the MACD is still looking despite today's technically slightly, sideways, we'll just say, Dave. Again, we're green, but it's not very green, right? But nonetheless, MACD is still looking pretty solid. Stochastic, our size still looking solid, and Stochastic looks damn good. Stochastic is it's thinking we're continuing up. This thing is not, any of these red days or even sideways days. The Stochastic, it's not buying it. It's saying nah. We're going higher. That's what it's telling me right now. Let's see, right? Nothing's perfect, but let's see. So that's the bullish perspective. The bearish perspective, or at least the things that are, can halt the bulls potentially, is, well, again, like I said, losing the mid 130s, 134, 5, 6, that general range, losing that, definitely can spell some trouble. And that's number one, right? Number two is, well, these bands, they're still red, unfortunately, right? We definitely need to turn these bands back into support. So far, they are resisting us. We need to turn them into support. This, sooner the better, of course, but, there's no big massive rush as long as we continue holding the mid 130s. But, these bands, they are technically resistance right now. We need to turn those bad boys back into being green. That's, something kind of weighing us down, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. So those are the bad news for the bears, or the bulls, and technically the more bearish perspective. And again, losing the mid 130s would be not good. Let's go to the 1 hour chart. The 1 hour chart, this is one I was talking to my members about, right? Well, let's see how this plays out, of course, moving forward into tomorrow. Again, my lines aren't drawn perfect. You can argue the fact that maybe it should be like this, maybe it should be like that, whatever. The point is the fact that, we have arguably set up what more or less looks like a bull flag, right? Nice little push up from the lows over here. Nice looking little rally, right? Into a nice looking bull flag. We had a nice, decent touch points overall, and then we broke out. Now we're retesting it. And ideally, what we do is this pre-market little redness that we're seeing right now goes away by tomorrow morning. And, what we do is we ultimately pretty much have this, retest that we're pretty much doing right here in the, 137s, hold as a retest. And that's all it is, a retest. And we just continue our way back up after that. That's the ideal scenario for the bulls. Let's see if that continues to play out. We have some nice support here, right? For instance, we have the market bias and we have the EMA band on the 1 hour, both green, both acting as a potential support right here, right now, with that retest breakout of the bull flag. So the ideal scenario is the bulls hold this 137-ish range. We hopefully fix this aftermarket action over here, and we go higher. And we simply just go higher from here. And what I'd want to see is essentially a break above today's high at some point tomorrow, which would be, in my opinion, pretty reassuring. And again, in my opinion, also holding above, 140s to 142. Daily closures above that would be a nice sign as well moving forward. So that's probably the main way I'm currently eyeballing NVIDIA. I'm actually contemplating on adding a bit more shares in the aftermarket right now, to be completely honest with you. It's a little bit of a risk, I'm not going to lie. Definitely a little bit of a risk, but I'm going to think about it. Anyway, that's kind of my overall general perspective on the stock. Let's go over to the weekly chart. Actually, the weekly chart just started. We don't care about the weekly. Let's go to the monthly chart instead, actually. How's the monthly chart looking? Well, the monthly chart is looking, it's okay, right? It's not looking too bad, right? Monthly chart, first red monthly candle in a while. I mean, we have stuff tomorrow, of course, but we'll see how this closes out. I mean, NVIDIA has had a phenomenal run. It is pretty overbought, right? The monthly, time frame is very, very, very overextended. But if there's a stock that can stay overextended a lot more than it can stay, oversold, clearly it's this stock. This stock has a massive, even back here, this stock has a history on the monthly chart of just staying overbought. Like the monthly RSI feels like it doesn't matter that much for NVIDIA because it can stay overbought for much longer than you could ever possibly imagine. And the stock is damn good at doing that. So that's why I'm not fully convinced that, it has to crash all the way back down to like, $70 or something crazy where the market bias says, I don't fully buy that right now, right? Especially with how great the company is, performing essentially too. So it's hard to look at that chart too seriously at the moment, at least in my opinion. So, we'll see how that plays out. I think the daily chart really speaks the most right now to me. And, so far I do think it still looks pretty damn solid for the most part. And I think there is absolutely some potential here. And I do think NVIDIA, assuming we hold and break and hold above 150 or 140, again, like I said, minimum retest of all-time highs, but I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if we make our way back up to 160s in January potentially. Now, again, you have to remember, there's a lot of people that want this thing to crash, right? I think more people probably want this thing to crash than they do want it to go up because everyone wants to buy NVIDIA cheap. And, it's just, I can't imagine the market is going to give people that much of an opportunity here. We'll see. You never know. Who knows? Going into New Year, you never know. Things can happen. Wild things can definitely happen. But I do believe that as long as we continue holding the mid 130s, the bulls are in control. The bulls are simply in control. There's really no other way to put it. The bulls will maintain control. If we lose the 130s, the mid 130s, story can definitely swap pretty quickly. Options flows, a little bit muted today. Nice little call flow over here for January 17th, 2025, 140 strike in the morning for NVIDIA. So these could have taken profit already. You never know, right? Maybe in the morning rally to 141. Maybe they took profit. Hard to say for sure, but nonetheless, good to see that. Another 1.2 million call for 5/16/2025 for 100 strikes, so it's very much in the money. Don't care too much about that personally, but other than that, options flow kind of all over the place. The bulls still definitely dominating the bears, no question about that, but pretty mixed overall, so nothing too convincing one way or the other regardless. But in terms of the chart, that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. I think it looks still pretty solid as long as we continue holding pretty much the low of today, honestly. And yeah, let's see how it goes moving into the final day of the year tomorrow. Let's see what happens. And don't forget, the market is closed on Wednesday. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Peace.